Welcome back to Animal Crossing New Horizons. I'm Dear Darling. I shall see what's going on our lovely island of Fawnhallow today. Recording Animal Crossing at a reasonable time. Check me out. I don't know why me saying that just triggered something in my head, which I can't even record where it's from. But it's I think a video game character going, check me out. Like, where is that from? I've genuinely got... You know what? I think I've remembered where it's from, but that's absolutely miraculous. It's from... I'll get into it in a second. Hello everyone, right now in Fawnhallow, 6:23 PM on Tuesday, December 23rd, 2025. We're only a couple of days till Christmas. Tomorrow's Christmas Eve. It's so crazy. I spoke about it yesterday. It genuinely does not feel like it. It does not feel like it's about to be Christmas in 2 days. But yes, how is recording stuff coming along? I believe I have 3 more... No, let me think, hold on. I have 3 more Lorelei and Laser Eye episodes to record, which I was going to do in today, but I realised I'm a bit busy today as well. Well, anyway, they'll be done today, probably. And then I'll have 3 more Animal Crossing episodes to record. 2 of them will be Happy in Paradise, and 1 will be a New Year's celebration. 1 which will also hopefully be done today, so that's 6 episodes to record today, which you might be like, that's a lot. It's not actually too much, because I mean, if you think about it, technically I could get that done in 2 hours if I did them back to back to back. In reality, it'll probably take 3-4 hours or something, and what will likely happen is I'll likely do the Lorelei with 2 episodes today, and then I'll do the New Year's one tomorrow or something. Which, to be fair, in actuality, I probably could have did not need to pre-record one of episodes. I pre-recorded tomorrow's Animal Crossing episode, because I'll probably be busy in the evening, but I still technically would have time to record it. You know, it's not like I haven't done recordings at like 1 or 2 AM before. What am I doing? I feel like I'm playing this game backwards right now. That's so weird. But yeah, I'm going to be doing some Animal Crossing here in a moment. And yeah, Lorelei and Malaysia is going to be a more interesting one. But yes, okay, that reference, I remember now. It's from a Far From Satchel. Well, actually, it's from a video game, technically. I don't know what game it is. I think it's one of the Xbox Connect ones, but it's one of the ones which I played on Far From Satchel, or Video Games Awesome, who are basically a Let's Play channel who I used to watch when I was much younger. And recently actually thought about again, because of our playthrough of Rhythm Heaven Fever. I'm pretty sure they're not posting videos now anymore, the main 2, they like moved to Japan, which is all fine. I think we had a child, and I think that's basically been it. Anyway, I stopped watching them like maybe a decade ago or something. So it's really been quite a while since I've paid attention to whatever they're doing, which is fine. You know, I wish them a happy life, of course. Like, I would not wish ill upon them or anything like that. But it's interesting to think about because it's such a random episode. Because they made like an avatar of the baby Hank, I believe as they called it, who is basically the baby from Babysitting Mama? Is that what the game's called? Which is basically a spin-off with Cooking Mama about babysitting kids. Which, I don't know, they just call baby Hank and then they dress him up in every single Let's Play. That's a thing I did, like, seriously appreciate that they did, is that for so many of their Let's Plays, they basically wore costumes to fit whatever their Let's Play was. Like in Heavy Rain, I remember they all wore like raincoat, anorak sort of things. I think for Amnesia they had these crazy looking, like monster looking, I forgot what the monster's called in Amnesia, but they had basically hoodies which look like that. It's really, really fun what they did. And if I did like in-person Let's Plays or something, I would love to do that. I mean, you can see I make custom thumbnail arts for each one. That's basically my expression. The only thing is I don't know how to, well, okay, I do know how to sew, and I do know how to use a sewing machine, just not that well. Not well enough that I can make my own costume. Is it something on the list that I do wish to learn how to make at some point? Absolutely. Is it current? No, but it's quite low priority. I think I need a lot more money and time, and I think I need space for a sewing machine because I don't know where I'd put it at the moment. But that's kind of a dream, right? To basically have like a craft room or something, like I go in there, or like an artistry room is probably how I describe it, you know. I go in there, I've got my piano there, maybe I've got like a drawing tablet or whatever set up, which I can just sit down and immediately start drawing. I guess I should probably have my computer in there, to be honest. A mini, like a cupboard in the side which can be used as like a mini recording booth, sewing machine as well. Like every single craft or every single type of thing or activity or hobby which I want to pick up and learn how to interface with, you know, all in this one room. I guess, you know, if I was really rich, it would be nice to have separate rooms for each of them, but you know, I'm trying to be reasonable here. What's even plausible. But yeah, it's a really cool thing they do, genuinely, to have like themed costumes for every single thing. Do Let's Plays do it now? Yeah, to a certain extent, you know, I'm sure. I mean, like these larger scale productions. Again, I'm watching a lot of Smosh nowadays and stuff. Like, it's weird to think about, but the fact that obviously Smosh is like an actual corporate company or something, but it's not to say that they don't have like the vibe of friends playing together, because I mean the cast are friends playing together, but they have like a whole company structure. You know, they have like writers, directors, camera operators, sound operators, there's stuff going on behind the scenes. Which, I don't know, I guess it sort of preserves the feel of like old school YouTube or just like friends coming together or something, but actually, you know, has a production quality of much larger scale projects nowadays, which is kind of cool in its own way, I think. You know, it's like fun things to think about, because you might think like, oh, that's like soulless or whatever or something, but you know, I think it would be really cool if somehow we had like a Critical Role production of our own D&D sessions or something. Make these animated shorts, people make fan animatics or, you know, storyboards or, you know, fan art of these characters or something. But you need like a whole production crew for something like that, you know. Am I going to do that? No, absolutely not. I think I mean, there's multiple different reasons why I wouldn't do that, you know. Like, but even like costs aside, practicality aside, and all that sort of thing, you know, it's the precious time I have with friends, which is off camera, you know. My friends aren't really signing up to be YouTubers or streamers, or I mean, some are, I suppose, to the extent, but like, I don't want that inherent tie together in what should be like a fun recreational time. It's a job, I suppose, at the end of the day, if I do it like that, which, you know, I don't think I'm someone who is like, I can't do a job. Wait, hold on. Can't treat one of the things I love to do as a job. I think that's a-okay with me, but I think definitely the issue is I don't have the same level of passion of people who do have that, you know? What does that mean? Like, if my job was something that I truly love to do, like drawing or something, you know, and it was a sustainable, like, amount, like salary or whatever, I was making a similar salary, I think I'd be totally fine with that. But I would think that I don't have a push or a drive to make it something like that, you know? You need an incredible amount of drive to, for example, become like a video game developer and make your own video games. Because you know how much stuff you need to do. As an indie dev, it's really, really difficult to make it. You have to have a real love for video games to really try and break into that space. I do love video games, and I think making video games would be really cool, but I don't think I have the level of passion required to do something like that. Diligence can get you pretty far, to be honest, for a regular sort of thing, but like, why not just apply that diligence to, in my opinion, something much safer? And that therein is the core of the issue, I suppose, is that my passion there doesn't quite match up to what you need to be like that indie dev dream a reality. And I think that's fine. I think it's not for everyone. I'm perfectly fine with having it be as a hobby right now. Because certainly, I think the thing that would make me most stressed about it would be like the financial connotations of it. I suppose if I had literal no financial worries, I suppose, for the rest of my life, and that'd be a different story, but still. Anyway, the point of what I'm saying is, there really wasn't a point. I don't really know what my point was, to be honest. I've kind of gone off the rails of whatever conversations I was now previously talking about. But yeah, it'd be cool to have like that sort of like level of production on things. At some point, I'm sure I'd like lose its sort of spark. But imagine like we had whole Dear Darling Studio Productions or something. One thing, I guess I wouldn't need like a costume or like director or anything like that, but you know, things could happen. Like I would have like a video editor, maybe. I'd have someone to be like the channel manager, if you think about it. I would have like dedicated artists whose thumbnail art style, like they replicate perfectly or something to be able to create these thumbnail arts or something like that, you know. I think it's just, it's kind of 50-50, because it kind of depends on how you take on it. Like, are you doing it for the love of the actual action itself, in this case playing games, and I do, but you know, combining it with the act of like theatrics or the scale of production, you know, on the one hand, does it feel a bit soulless because now you're actually making something with not only the intent to entertain and stuff like that, but also, you know, the financial means do actually make a difference to it. But at the same time, you know, it's kind of like giving a budget, right? Like you get a creative budget essentially. Like what creative wouldn't be like, oh, you know, it would be an amazing opportunity to just basically be like, hey, you know, we're going to give you like £10,000 to make, for example, like a short movie of your own taking, of your own desire or whatever, you know. I feel like most creatives would take that, provided there weren't like huge restrictions or something on it, I don't know, or gotcha clauses. And that's totally fair. Myself, like, included, maybe not for a movie, like I don't know what I'd even do for a movie, I don't even know where to start, but it would be cool. So, you know, having a whole production crew would be really cool as well, because I mean, again, using Smosh as my example, they get to do a lot of these really cool, interesting sort of like game show style things, which would be really fun to do. They have a budget to have these whole productions and whatnot. But it is actually like a very weird sort of marriage of like trying to reconcile what it feels like in your head. So be like, oh yeah, you know, they got the vibe of basically a load of friends coming together, but at the same time they have like a whole wardrobe department essentially. With an outfit coordinator, probably. With a makeup artist, you know. We have a sound designer constantly listening into the recording just to make sure all the balances of the voices are perfectly on point. But at the same time, they're just, you know, friends playing games, having fun or something. It's a very bizarre mix. And I think, you know, it's bizarre maybe because I didn't grow up with it. You know, I grew up, I saw the rise of YouTube through very sort of like a grassroots style means of these channels, right? I mean, Smosh was technically a grassroots channel. Like, it started out from, like, what was it? The two, Ian and Anthony, right? Just recording, like, a Pokemon theme song or something to a webcam. Did they make that to entertain? I'm sure they did. Did they make that for fun? Yeah. Did they make that with financial goals in mind? Absolutely not. Well, probably not. But that's just how it sort of like naturally came about. So I'm sort of like of two minds about it. Like, what happened? What would I feel like if I just suddenly, next day, woke up and, you know, retroactively, it was somehow always true. We just had like, me and my friend group, just like, we had like a production crew, essentially, where, you know, we'd have a budget, we all lived in the same area, we had like a recording house or something, we come up and, you know, we'd like record a video, you know, Smosh style, offline TV style. What other big YouTubers are sort of like collaborative creators, something like that. It'd be fascinating, you know, how would that change things? You know, on the one hand, does that sort of cheapen the value, I suppose, of the stuff that we do? And if anything, no, I guess, because in this place, it's kind of replacing a job, right? And it's not like you don't have free time outside of work as well, where you can just hang out as genuine friends without, you know, the pressure of certain performative entertainment requirements or financial goals or like stuff, you know, stuff like that. But at the same time, you know, does it muddy the waters a little bit? Absolutely, I think as well, you know. I'm sure, like, again, I can't say for certain, I only have my own experience, but, you know, there's a differentiation of, like, playing a game with your friends, you know, in front of a camera, playing your games normally, you know, switching off that, like, performance mode, like camera mode, so to speak. The on camera, off camera dynamic. And, you know, I'm not going to dive into a social commentary of it because I'm not feeling like I'm even slightly well equipped enough, but, you know, it's very interesting to think about. Sorry, a little pause there. But yeah, I wasn't going to dive into the social commentary aspect of it because it's difficult, I think, for me necessarily to say, but it's interesting how it's something which is sort of like emerged quite naturally from the fact that, you know, people are doing like these very indie sort of like games plays, you know, like imagine, you know, you can imagine a channel being like, oh yeah, we just played board games together and we recorded it and now suddenly we have a whole upscale production. Does that happen to every channel? No, a lot of times people just don't do that, but if you actually have that drive, I suppose, to chase that sort of creative exploration or avenue, then it's interesting because it's such an interesting mix of something which is both, you know, very sort of productized as well, but also quite natural. Does that make sense? And I don't know how to quite reconcile that in my head because I think logically it is reconciled, but emotionally it feels weird in my head. And I really wonder if that's what, you know, these creators deal with necessarily. I'm sure they must do to a certain extent, where it's like, oh, you know, sometimes it's difficult just to be in like off work mode. But, well, I guess it probably would have a lot of potential different influences depending on how caught up in it they are, you know, like how healthy a separation do they have between work and play? You know, do they maintain these sort of connections outside? Off camera as well as on camera? I don't know, but it's certainly interesting to think about, I think. I don't even know what little symbol to do. I guess I'll do a video with a camera. Like that. Productized life. Productized live. There's like a pun in there. Yeah, it's really interesting to think about, in my opinion. And I think it's more interesting to think about like what I would personally feel like if I was in that situation. Because I think it's one thing, because like if I applied, I'm not going to. 1, I don't live in LA, and I'm pretty sure Smash 1, 2, not hiring, 3, also looking for comedians, which I'm neither. I don't make any of those. But we're talking hypotheticals here, in a hopefully not parasocial way. But like if I applied for something like Smash, like you audition, I assume, to try and get in because it's a product thing. They want to see if you got, you know, like the comedic chops. They want to see if you can gel well with people. They want to catch your vibe to see if you fit, presumably. I mean, maybe they don't. Maybe they just wrote people in or something like that. But I assume you must audition or do something similar to that, even if it's like a casual, informal, like sit-down meal interview style thing. But once you get to any level of like owning a company, you got to have like these processes in because you're not just casually doing it anymore. Like I think like actually applying for these sort of things, it's easier to make that disconnect in my mind because I'm like, okay, on time, the camera on time is work time, you know, I'm here to entertain, ham out the reactions, play off the bits, or that sort of thing. You know, yes and no but, etc, etc, etc. And then it's easier to sort of delineate that, being like, okay, you know, don't need to do that, I suppose, when the camera's not rolling, necessarily. Or during that time period. But if it's something that more like grassroots naturally came up, I think that would probably be a bit difficult. Like imagine this YouTube channel somehow exploded or something, and you know, I started inviting my friends on. Well, I guess my friends would have to be here to play, and you know, now we have a whole production thing. At what point, you know, because it's kind of like a frog in boiling water, right? You know, am I going to notice that slow shift to productization, or am I not? I don't know the answer to that. I feel like talking about it now, hopefully I'll be more aware of it, but maybe it's a lot more harder to feel in the moment. And it doesn't necessarily scare me because this is an implausibility, but it is a fun theoretical, I think, at least. Anyway, on that note, I'm going to round this episode up here. So, if you have been watching, thank you very much. It's been Animal Crossing New Horizons. I've been dear darling. Likes, comments, subscription, shares, greatly appreciated. Socials, Discord down below. Hope to see each other again, but for now, it's our farewell. So until next time, bye-bye for now.